Hello everybody, and today we're doing pastel landscapes. I've chosen this landscape. It's a path in Halnaker, which is in West Sussex. I highly recommend you visit. It's absolutely lovely. Um, it's near Chichester, and I like landscapes where there's a path leading the viewer's eye into the painting. And here are my materials, just a few words about pastels. With pastels, you're kind of stuck with the colours you've got, so you have to be able to do optical mixing. So sometimes you just want that colour and it's just not there, so you have to adapt, and it leads to quite an impressionist style of drawing or painting. So I've got my pastels here. These are various ones I've accumulated over time, and I put them in little compartments for the pinks and the blues and various other things, so I can just grab them when I need them. Another very useful thing to have in your kit is, well, not necessarily this one, but I think Rembrandt also do this, a dark set, because sometimes you just do not have the right tone. And these are Unison pastels. They're really soft and lovely, as are these. These are French, which Claire gave me. There's some, I'm trying to think what they are, but they're very soft but really chunky, so quite hard to use sometimes. And but if you're just getting into pastels, quite a nice set is something like this. This is the Inscribed Pastels, 48 half sticks. You get a good range of colours, and they're good quality. They're a little bit harder than these. I think the higher quality pastel you get, the softer they are, and they're just like drawing with butter, the soft pastels. But these are perfectly fine and very nice, and they're a little bit harder. But they don't create mounds of chalk dust, which sometimes cheap pastels do. And this pastel landscapes is something I want to do more of in my life, so this is a good opportunity to try it out, because I absolutely love drawing pastels, particularly portraits and life. It's a very immediate way to get colour into your work, and I really love them. So we're going to crack on, I think. So I'm just going to put these somewhere useful. What's also quite good to have is somewhere to put the pastels you've been using. So I generally have a saucer or something around, so I can just grab the pastels I've been using. So I'm going to put my darks over there. And as with all pastels, what I like to do is start out with charcoal. So I'm just going to put my picture here. I don't know if you can see it. I'm actually working in natural light because I found my strong light was bleaching out the colours. So this is just natural light, and you can tell what the colours are going to be. And I've edited myself out so you can see the whole picture. So I'm just going to put the horizon in, which is sort of there. In fact, this is a bit wider than the image. And then I've got this little area of light at the end of the tunnel, which is a little bit off centre. So I'm just going in there, and then I've got my path, which comes down here. And with charcoal, the nice thing is that it raises very easily. So I've got this bank of whatever it is, grass and things, and this nice road coming over here. And looking at where the road hits your frame is quite useful, and where it's going to. And obviously it diminishes due to perspective. And then over here I've got all these dark trees, so this is where the dark is. And there's some dark over here. And then we've got some dappled shade there. Now I'm just sort of putting these on so I know where I'm going. And the reason why I like using charcoal is it's quite easily erasable, and I often use it for the darks in the picture too. So with this, I think I'm going to block in some nice dark green. So out of my dark set, I'm going to use quite a dark colour here. And I'm working on red. The nice thing about pastels is that to use coloured paper. You can use pastels on white paper, but why not use them to their advantage, where you actually draw with the light and use coloured papers. And I'm using a red paper here. It's a Canson pastel paper, I think. There's Canson, there's Fabriano, and Murano selection. And these are big sheets, which I managed to get from Hobbycraft, which is now open, which is good. And so I'm just putting on some green on this red, and it really has a visual ping, and it will actually intensify green. So I've got this nice dark greeny viridian type of colour, and I just want to block in the darks. I tend to work from dark to light with pastels because then you can kind of sculpt the light on top. And I'm using the side. You can see it's really quite quick. I want to put on a layer of dark here. And there's a layer of dark over here as well. And I'm going to pick up something rather fiendish. I think this is even darker. That's a dark blue, so I'm just popping some dark blue in there as well to intensify the darks. And over here too. And where's a little bit over here. And then I'm going to, is that the same colour I've just used? I wonder, oh no, it's a bit lighter. So I've got a slightly lighter colour here. I want to go in there with these. And these have all still got quite a blue tinge. I'm just trying to find my darkest dark. I've got a really nice dark blue here. So I'm just going in there. I'm just putting some darks in there so I can actually use them later. And I don't seem to have any dark brown, but never mind. So I'm just picking up my posh pastels over here. I hope they don't fall off. Putting my picture there, and I'm going to have a look for my darkest dark. So is that the dark blue again? Yes, it is. So I want that in there, and a little bit of dark brown, but I think that's going to be too light. And again, it's finding this tone. So I'm actually going to be reduced to using black. Oh no, that is a dark brown. That's good. So the colours mix on the paper. That's what's nice about pastels. So I'm just going in here, blocking in my darks. So that's this dark brown. I think it's dark brown, could be black. I just want that tone to be there. And then I'm going to start looking at the lighter patches of the drawing. I'm going to pick up this rather nice colour. It's kind of an olivey green. So I just wanted something there. And I'm just not pressing too hard because these are such soft pastels. I'm just going in there and trying to layer up some colour. I'm just looking at what's going on here. But I really want to get those dark patches in. I think I am going to try and just crack on and put the nice darks in. So I'm looking here. I don't want too much light. I want to draw the light on the dark areas. So here we've got some sunlight, so a rather dappled shade. So I'm actually using a rather lurid purple in here, which looks blue on this paper. It's definitely purple. So it goes over here. Just put a little patch in there. A little bit in there, maybe a little bit there. And then I want to pick up some of my nice greens. So I've got this one here, which is pretty light, actually. Might be Pastels Age. So this, I don't know how old it is. It seems a little bit harder than your average. So I'm just putting some areas in here where I want the lighter bits. And over here. And then I want a little bit of what I would consider kind of burnt umber colour, and I'm just going to put a bit on here. And what the purples provided the dark, and this will provide the colour. Stick this down. So I'm layering up colours, and again putting the darks in first. I just might put a little bit on there to know. I know it will mix in with the lighter colour I'm going to put on in a minute. And then. What was that? That's a nice colour. I think this is a little Rembrandt pastel. You can get a nice little set of 12 or 15 pastels from Lawrence's. The Rembrandts are actually quite good value for money. They're a little bit harder than most, but I like them. They have a good range, and as I say, I think they've got a good range of darks. They have a little pack of darks, which I think is on special offer at Lawrence's. So I'm just putting all the pastels I've used so far into one container, so I know I can go back and grab them. So they're here. So I'll just put those there, refer to my picture. And now, what colour is that? Let's have a look. Oh, it's a bit on the blue side. I'm going to put it on, and then I can ameliorate it with some more yellow ochre colours. But it's kind of a mid-tone. I'm going to pick up these. So I'm going to work from far away closer. So this is, oh, that's a nice, very cool warm green. It's quite nice, a cool warm green. That makes sense, doesn't it? I'm just putting some on there so I can build up the texture of what's going on here. I'm then going to go in with a nice, this is a nice kind of warm green gold, I suppose. So I'm just putting in the far away bit here. And what I should have done earlier is actually, just blocking this in while it's in my hand. And over here we've got some nice things going on here. And again, at this stage I'm using the side of the pastel. But it occurs to me I should put in that blue sky. So I've got a nice kind of cerulean blue pastel here. Let's see how that works. Oh, look at that. It's lovely and soft, but maybe a little bit on the dark side. So I'm just going to layer that up with a lighter version and hope it goes lighter. And that was a very soft pastel. So a combination. So you mix colours on the paper. Yes, and so that will give me a contrast because that's where the light is. Talking of which, perhaps I should do some of the path. Try that colour. It's a bit on the yellow side. Let's see what that's like. Oh, that's not bad. On this red, I thought it might be too dark a tone, but it's not. It's quite a nice colour. So I'm actually going to take the pastel in the same way the path is running. So it's got these kind of black ruffy bits. Oh dear, I've got lucky fingerprints. Quite good to have baby wipes handy or kitchen towel. And one reason I really don't like blending with pastels, it can be, it's quite popular, particularly in America, that you blend things to death. You can use tissue, you can use kitchen towel, you can use Q-tips, they're quite good. You can get those little, what's they called, tronchons or something, little paper sticks that you blend pastels with. But then you lose the dynamism of your drawing strokes and the colours you're using. And then here, here I've got quite a nice light colour here, and I'm just going to go backwards and forwards. What I ought to do is peel the paper off, so I get a nice big block. So I'm just looking at this nice light colour here, and again it's going the same way the path is. So take your strokes the same way the thing is, and then not much happening over there. And then I've got this nice green here. It goes up there. It goes up there. I've got some green over here. Some dark green there. Let's grab some dark green and put it in here so we know what we're doing. And I'm just going to try and build it up. So that's where the shadows are. And you can get very impressionistic doing pastels. Because you're putting discrete colours on the paper. Ooh, this is a blue. There's a blue or very dark bluey green. I just want that in there to indicate where the shadows are. I want that dark there and over here too. And perhaps a bit over here. So this is layering up, so I want to layer up my pastels. And this actually goes over here in a big way. So again, I'm just putting this on to be a tone, but you will have nice bits of it peeking through your work. It doesn't look like much now, but I'm sure it will all come together. And then I want to pick up my, this is a nice colour. This is kind of a raw sienna kind of colour. So I'm just going in here, catching the edge of my path. And this is so soft. It's filling up the paper. With pastels, you sometimes find you fill up the paper. There are no more pores in the paper to hold pastel. I'm not there yet, but some of it's starting to do that. A decent white. I'm just going to go in here and add a little bit of white to this. And you see, so I'm layering up colours. I put on that warm yellow ochre colour, and now I'm putting some white on there just to get the idea of that, the sunlight on the path. Yeah, there's something over there. There's a little bit going on there. You can see the bright white is very bright, but to layer it up without the colours works quite well. Right, better start bringing this together then. Here's my thing of things. Oh, coming up there. The softer the pastel, well, the cheaper the pastel, the more chalk it produces, but also the softer the pastel. And here again, I want that contrast between the light and the dark, so I'm using this dark purple to be that light. And this is starting to fill up the paper, so I don't want to go crazy. I just want that tone in there. And again, just over here, that tone, over here, and that is filling up the paper. So then I want to explore my darker greens. What's that? I think this is sort of a hooker's green. Let's see what that does. Oh, it's been on the blue side. But again, I just want to build up those pastel marks within the dark here. A bit on the blue side. Let's hope if I put some yellowy green on top, it'll be all right. What you can do, if you get serious about pastels and want you to do them, you can fix them as you go along. But I'm a bit against fixative on principle because it always smells so poisonous. So perhaps use hairspray. That works very well. I'm just exploring the different kinds of greens I've got in my life. So I'm just going in here with this one. And this is a bit better. This is slightly less blue. But I want to keep those dark passages there. And we've got going in here. That's path. So now I'm starting to use them on the side to actually indicate the texture of what's going on there. Again, in there, so that's the shadows there. And there's a shadow here. And that goes there. And again, we've got something happening over here. And we've got some darker areas in here. And there. And then I'm going to pick up this really nice, bright, yellowy green and start putting in some areas of the light. Starting far away, but over here, we've got these passages of light where the light's hitting this tree here. I think this is the lightest light I would want in there. So that mixes in there like that. And it can be quite quick doing a pastel because you're using the side of it. You can just block things into it. It's like using a big brush. In there. And where's that olive green gone? Let's try a bit of the olive green because I don't want it to be that bright light all over the place. So I've got this nice olive green in there. And it's over here. It's a bit more sympathetic. And over here. Just looking where those trees are. We've got this grass here. And over here. That. Over here. So again, layering up colours. So I want this nice olive green. I think that's worked out best. It's one of the nicest greens. It has got too much blue in it. And over here, see what's going on in my picture. Oh, look, there's some kind of reflective light on this tree here. Oh, look, that's got to look at the picture. I can go in there. And here. Some lighter passages. So I suppose this is my mid-tone green. So I've got darks behind and then I will put lights on top. Yeah. And we've got something going on there. So that's fine. Peel the paper off this one. Again, I want to block things in. So, and you can break pastels. They still work even if they are broken. But when you unveil a new pack of pastels, they are just lovely. All these pure colours and they all look beautiful. And then they end up like this. But it's good to keep them in order and organised. But I don't know if I've told the story of this nice American pilot I met once, and all he had was just this mania of buying pastels. And he wanted to learn them really quickly, but didn't really oblige. But it's just beautiful. They're just beautiful. And we just buy endless pastels. Again, I think this is black. Yes, I think it is black. And I would hesitate to use black in a painting, but because I just want this dark tone, I want some dark passages in here, just to contrast to what's going on. Now I think I've got the darks right. I'm just thinking there's one or two twigs here, so I can put a twig in. Maybe a twig there. That's a very hard pastel. I don't know what that was. That's some charcoal. Oh, here we are. This might work. There we are. A few twigs. Twigs. You can go in there and add your twigs. Now I want to start working on this area. It's rather undefined. So I'm going to use my lighter colours. I'm actually going to use this one, I think. This is the one. Oh, no, that's not the one. But I want to, this is kind of the base colour of this lovely summer meadowy effect. Yeah, I want something a little bit darker than that. Let's try this one. Oh, it's a bit on the green side, but I'm going to put it in as a kind of base colour. And then I'm going to start adding the textures of things. So over here, get this background kind of defined. It's kind of a bit of a down over there. And then I want that little bit of purple and blue, just to add a few little darks in here for the shadows that are playing in the meadow. Yeah. I'm just going to have a bit of a squiggle around. So at this point you can add a little bit of texture for the darker areas. Maybe a tiny bit of purple. It's a little bit darker. So we've got this nice dark passage here with the light in front. So I think I'm going to use purple for the dark behind because that will ping off the yellow. And then, look at what it actually says. Olive green. So this is a De La Rona pastel, and they will have the same names of colours that you know, and they will have various tones in that. And I don't know if anyone has them anymore. Cornelius in London, you just pull out a drawer of all the blues, all the phthalo blues, and lots of different tones. So this is a nice old pastel. They're in between the Inscribe and Hardness or Rembrandt. They're both quite hard, but they are really nice, and they're smaller, as you can see. So these big chunky things, that's all handmade. They're quite hard to use sometimes, but this is ideal. Ha ha ha! Maybe I should invest in some more. Good. That's all getting a bit full. So here, I want a little bit of olive green here for some dark areas. And over here, so this comes down here. And over here, ooh, that's working. Wow. That's a good colour. There we go. Right, now I think to start bringing it together, I want to add some areas of lightness here. So I'm going to look. So this is, I suppose this was taken in August. So I've got this light area here, and just have that contrast between light and dark. So we've got this nice idea. Oops, that's getting too full. And maybe some actual yellows. Oh, look at that. Fantastic. This is a lemon yellow, I think, which is working. So I'm just working on building up this area here. I've got some yellow ochre somewhere in my life. Ochre. I don't know. That could work. I've got a few little things here. I should wait to put those on later. And this colour. And I want to block that in. That's a little bit more lemon yellow. Again, I want to get this light in here. There's passages of light. This is one a bit hard. Whoa! And I build it up. And I want to put some nice green on top of that, I think. mix on the paper. And then over here, now, I'm getting this nice area of things happening. That's coming together. I'm encouraged. That's the same colour I just used. Oh, let's try this one. This is this nice lighter colour. So it's a similar colour but lighter. And I can actually almost create the grass and the texture of what's going on here. Maybe put something here. And the advantage of working on red, because I know this is a green scene, you're getting that colour pop, that colour mixing that you get with colour theory. And I will often recommend people paint acrylics on different colours, just so you're not doing it on white, which is always a good thing, but also that you're using the background to your advantage. So where it pokes through, it has this little visual ping. And over here, over there. Just making sure I'm recording. That'd be another terrible gap. Oh, look at that. Oh, maybe that's a bit too strong. So I just want to go a bit more wheaty colour and have some wheaty bits appearing in there and varying this colour of this, the meadow. Don't just want it all to be green. And actually I had a bit of a success at some point recently by using orange. Whoa, okay, yep. So when everything's getting a bit green, I like to start thinking of Impressionists and what would they do? What would mine do? So I'm just putting a little passages of orange in here. Oh, maybe a bit too much. But just to zing it up a bit. Against here, ooh, we've got a bit more texture in. Now I want to resolve that area there. So again, looking at my picture, there's some nice kind of yellowy ochre passages in here. So I don't want it all to be just green, otherwise it gets very dark. So this is lovely yellow ochre, which as I have in my hand, I'm not nip in there and do that. Go on white on top of that. So putting yellow ochre, there's a bit more over here, so let's put some on here. And just here, I don't know if you can see, you can't see the texture of the paper anymore, so that means that the paper is filling up a bit. So I've got to be careful, I've got to be a little bit more sparing. So over here, so this is the yellow ochre mixing with the blue that's already there. So, and then here I've got this colour here, which is kind of a light green. Going up here, yeah. Put a bit of yellow in that one. All my dresses. And so I'm going to pick up some yellow. That's a very pale. Oh, that's got to be white. I might need that for later. Let me try this one. Oh, there we go. Let's put that zing to it. So this lovely fresh green just here. Work in here. I'm sorry, the camera's wobbling around a bit. It's hard to not make it wobble, I'm afraid, because I'm pressing a little bit hard. Looking at these light areas, having a bit of a squiggle around, squiggle. And over here, so here we've got some little bits of green that have been highlighted by the sun. I don't want it all to be dark and the same. And then go in here, get this path down. I don't put too much red shade there. I'm going to deal with the shadow in a second. And then some making grassy marks over here. Something over there. So I suppose again, it's like working quite quickly. I just want to, whoops, a little bit of dark in here, so I'm actually picking up this purple. To just not make them dark green, I love the dark green. put that there. Creamy kind of dappled shade that's going on this part that leads up here. And you can see the colour is mixing on the paper, and that is much more exciting than just doing a dark green. So in here, and then over here, so I want that to be dark. I'm just putting it in with the green, so it pings off it. So I'm actually layering up tone using this purple. So now, so I've got a bit of the brown here, so I just want to go in here a little bit just to make it seem not quite so purpley. So this is the terracotta colour. And the paper is beginning to fill up. Go over here too. Purple back, so I want to have this bit over here. Yeah. And then I want to put a bit of green in here. Yeah, that's a bit too far. Using the purple for tone, but using the green for colour. And then over here, ooh, look at that. And I'll just have a bit of a squiggle around here. Right, let's start bringing it all together. So again, I just want some kind of dappled shade in there, which is getting quite hard to make it stick now. This was inside of this one. Dappled shade. It's much easier with pastels than it is with anything else. So I'm just going to peel the paper off this one because I want a bit more heft to it. And use it on its side. But this paper is getting full now, so I don't necessarily want to do too much more to it. I might have a look over here, and again, I need those dark colours here and the darks of the trees. So I'm having a bit of a wiggle, 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 wiggle. And I think I want the very paper. That's like blue. What's that one here? Oh, here we are. This will do, because over here you've got this nice idea of cool light. I think this was the very hot summer, so I don't think it'll rain for ages. And then, just appraising the work, go in here with this one, show what the light's up to. And again, a few strands going over the purple bits. Here. And you can see that just getting a little bit hard for the pastel to stick to the paper. But again, I do want a little bit more texture here. See what that something different. And we want some idea of what the grass is up to here. And building up that picture. Now I think that that light bit is too dark. So where was that light that I saw? Light. That needs to be lighter, so I'm just going to go over it with white. But that is seriously full now. I can't get it to stick. Use my finger. I haven't told everybody not to use their finger. Oh, my finger's filthy, so I'm just going to get a bit of a kitchen towel. Just a bit of a smush. Ah! So where's that light again? I want that light. I want it to be really light. It's like kind of a stormy day now. Never mind. Should have left well enough alone. So I might just use this again. I might have to compromise because I think this will sit better on the top. No, it doesn't. No, rats. believe it. Because this is too full now, so nothing's sticking to the paper. They are showing me what not to do. No, that doesn't work either. Well, okay, let's back up the trees and then we might not notice. So, picking up this nice colour here. Trying to buck up those lovely trees in here. Whoops, the camera's wobbling again. Just wiggling around, trying to create the idea of trees. And there we are. So I think I want a nice cadmium yellow colour. Yep. Whoa, there we go. That's really zing, doesn't it? Over here. And again, the paper's getting full, so I'm going to leave that a minute. Maybe some over here. Just have a few other colours going on. Like that orange, which was quite successful. And using the side of this very soft pastel, just put a few bits in there. And something here, something going on here. Nice. And we want some nice shapes of grasses here, which I can do with some yellow. But then again, I think I want some of this green going on. And a few little bits over here. Wiggle, wiggle. The idea, something happening here. And we've got this nice, oh, where's my nice olivey green colour? Yeah, making these shapes so it's not all just dark. Whoa! Now, oh, that's the right one. So what I want is a little bit more yellow ochre colour, I think. Just to vary the colour, but that's too light. Let's try green. Trouble with pastels get really mucky and sometimes it's hard to tell what colour they are. So I'm looking for my burnt sienna. So I want some variation there. And here. And now I'm at the stage of fiddling. Just tidying it up really. A bit of purple, just to find the dappled shade. But it's hard, so it is quite good to work from dark to light with pastels because I'm finding it hard to get that purple to be dark just there, and it's mixing with the light colours I've already applied there. And maybe, I think I need a little bit more light just here. So this is quite a light lemon yellow. Just a bit, but again, the paper is getting full. And there's not a lot I can do about that. I just might expand this path a bit. So I get a bit more feeling and perspective, but this is, you can see the paper is now full, so it's hard to get the pastels to stick. So I suppose pastels need a little bit of a light touch. To add a bit of texture. And then over here, which area I seem to have neglected. But cadmium yellow, I think we'll do it. Oh gosh. And a bit going on here and there. So I think I'll call that day. Apart from that, the mistake of my sky, it's all worked quite well. You can see that, so I have shown you the pastel paper gets full and you can't apply any more pastels. So just be wary of not using too many pastels on the paper. Light touch, blocking in, and have a textured paper. You notice that a lot of pastel papers, oh no, that's the colour I was looking for. A lot of papers have a lot of texture. I think the one I like, Canson, that was the one I really liked. I think this is Canford, which is not quite the same. I want seen calcium for ages. It was always quite expensive, but it had a lovely sort of honeycomb texture. Maybe just have a few in there. See if there are any marks that really annoy me. Oh dear, that's one of my pastel walls. I've just found it. Okay, so have fun. It's such a nice way of getting immediately into colour while drawing and not worrying about mixing paints. And I think I might do a few more pastel landscapes because I really like pastels, and I haven't really done many landscapes in pastels, and I would really like to try and do some more. Okay, so that's this week's video. Next week I'd like to do sketching people and architecture.